we are gonna do some hip opening exercises. So go ahead and grab a clock, your phone, or anything you can use to time yourself. We're gonna start off with a left leg lizard. So 90-degree angle, the front leg, back leg's nice and long. And you're either gonna have your hands propped up on your thigh here, or you're gonna come down to the floor, but I want you to think of pushing those hips forward. So I just sat a lot, 6 + 2, so 8 hours driving, picking up wine for my business, and my back is smoked. I also did some driving over the weekend, so all the time sitting in the car has my back super pinchy, and I know that it's from my hips being really tight. So we're gonna focus on today's session on stretches that you can incorporate to open the hips if you sit a lot, whether that's in the car, at your office, for whatever reason that you are sitting a lot. These will be exercises you can incorporate. Entropy may meander around and hang out with us. We're spending 1 minute here. We have another 8 seconds left. Really focus on pushing those hips down as you sink into the stretch. Whoo, I'm nice and tight. Good, we're gonna switch. So the intention of this stretch is to open up the front of that hip, the hip flexor. So as you notice, kind of from the side, I'm leaning into this stretch. Front leg is at 90-degree angle, back leg, toes are untucked. If you want, you can tuck them. If you want an additional stretch, you can always elevate your knee off the floor. That will lengthen that front hip flexor right there. But for me, I'm a little tired, fatigued. I'm just gonna bring the knee to the floor and then untuck the toes, except for my toes are cramping, so that's not gonna happen right now. We're holding this for 1 minute. Again, if you feel like you want an additional stretch, you have mobility, go ahead and come down to the floor so your forearms get to the floor. That allows you to open up those hips a little bit more. Entropy, come here. So hip opening, if you're sitting for a long period of time, you're shortening that muscle in the front side of the body. So it's really important to open it up, which is what we're doing here on the back side. Good girl. Good, so focus on breathing, inhaling into the nose, exhaling out to the nose. If you want an additional stretch, you can always take that arm up and over your body and grab the wrist to pull it over. Good, next stretch. We are gonna come to a bench or box, or you can even do this against the wall. We are gonna bring our left knee on the ab mat and then bring the opposite leg up. So this is called a couch stretch. If you're doing it against the wall, your toes will be pushed back a little bit, extended. So you will feel this a little bit more versus having your foot open kind of like I do. But we're holding this for 1 minute. I wanna think again, pushing my hips forward, away from the box or bench. If that's too much, bring your ankle underneath the hips and then push that knee forward over the toes. You'll get a calf stretch in that front leg, but that will lessen the intensity of that stretch in that back leg. If you want an extra stretch, you can always push your butt back towards your heel, bring the arm up and over, and pull. Again, find whatever is relatively comfortable for you, but this is gonna open up the hip. It's gonna intensify the stretch because we're now bringing that calf and ankle closer to our hamstring, whereas the lizard stretch that we did earlier did not have that position. Go, we're gonna go ahead and switch. Opposite side, same thing. So if you're sitting for long periods of time, like I said, car, desk, whatever it might be, highly recommend if you have a little bit of time at the end of the day. This series is gonna take 8 minutes. Incorporate it. You could do it as a warm-up when you get out of the bed in the morning, before you go and sit all day, or if you want, you could do it at the end of the day as kind of a closer for your day to help open up the stretch. You can always lengthen and add time, so you could do 2 minutes in each stretch, but if you're new to stretching or new to doing this mobility, recommend starting off with a minute. If a minute is always too much, you can scale back to about 30 seconds. But again, I'm doing a minute here. This will take about 8 minutes total series. You can always lengthen it as need be. If you also need a support, you can bring a bench or box in front so you kind of lean into it and relax. Again, relax is relative if you're doing these stretches. But these are some stretches that I incorporate into my routine. If I've been sitting a lot, I know I'm gonna feel better after this series. Go, we're gonna slowly come out of it in 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna come out. Now we're gonna go to a pigeon pose. So for the pigeon pose, I'm gonna bring my left leg, shin is gonna go down to the floor. I'll rotate this down so you guys can see it just a little bit more. But I'm bringing my shin to the floor. Back leg's nice and long. I'm holding this for 1 minute. If you have the ability to have your shin perpendicular or 90-degree angle with your thigh, awesome. If not, I'm kind of at a 45-degree angle. You can also roll your thigh and butt to the side and then fold yourself forward. This is great because it's actually gonna open up the outside of that hip and glute and a little bit of the inner thigh. This is something I try to incorporate every single day before my routine, and even after working out. I'll try to sit down there afterwards and write in my workout or write in my notes, whatever I'm doing. But this is something you should highly incorporate. We have about 10 more seconds here, then we're gonna switch to the other side. Again, this is pigeon position. If at any point this is too much for your knee, you can always roll off to the side and pull the leg out. You'll still feel that stretch in the hip and glute, but it'll just change slightly. Good, let's lift our hips and switch legs. You can always add an ab mat or a cushion underneath the shin and knee if it's too much. Again, you can always roll the button leg to the side as you fold for yourself forward. So holding here for a minute. I've gone to the point where I can do 5 minutes in this position. If you feel like you're numbing or it's a little tingly, go ahead and come out and make sure that you give yourself a little bit of break and then go back into it if that is the case. If you're really, really tight, be patient, start off with 30 seconds, then to 60, then eventually 90, 2 minutes, and eventually more from there. So, like I mentioned earlier, I got back from Paso, unloaded some wine. I'll be doing a case special for this wine. I'm liquidating the rest of this inventory. Fulfillment prices have gone crazy. I talked about this last week, so I'm moving those cases as much as I can here, but also getting rid of the wine so I can have other options going forward in the future. So I will put a link in the description below to check out the website. You can sign up for the newsletter that I'll be putting out tomorrow. Good, we're gonna come down to a seated straddle. This is gonna be our last 2 minutes. So we're gonna go nice and wide. The wider you can get the hips, the better. So think of pushing your hips and rotating your hips forward. Legs are wide as possible. And we're gonna spend the first minute in the center. So think of walking your hands far forward as possible. If you wanna drop your head to the floor as well, you can do that. You can also grab a kettlebell or a dumbbell to pull yourself forward. If you don't have that, you can always grab your inner thighs or outside the knee and then just pull yourself down. The intention here is to open up those inner thighs. So if you're sitting and driving, you're typically gonna have your legs parallel to one another. If you walk a lot going forward, you're not getting some sagittals from side movement. So we wanna think of opening those legs up so we can work those inner thighs, adductors. This will also open up the back a little bit. If you're sitting, your erectors, your spinal erector muscles that are parallel to the spine, those can get pretty tight. So this will allow you to flex and get some motion into the spine. You can even drop your head, tuck the chin as well. Now we've hit 1 minute, we're gonna go to the left or right, we're gonna hold for 30 seconds. You can grab your foot, ankle, knee, thigh, whatever you want. If you're super mobile or flexible and you want more, bring the elbow on the inside, reach the arm up and over on the outside, and you're gonna feel a stretch on the back side, on the right-hand side of the back So for me, I really feel this. My QL, which is one of the muscles in the back, is super tight from sitting for so long. So 30 seconds here, we have about 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna come up and we're gonna switch, same thing. I can grab my toes, ankle, calf, knee, thigh. I feel this on the left-hand side, my left side's a little tighter today. But again, I can bring the elbow on the inside, reach up and over, try to look towards the ceiling if you do that, so think external rotation or twisting away from the midline. So again, this is gonna take 8 minutes. We have about 15 more seconds here, then we'll wrap up the session. If you guys have any questions or looking for specific hip openers or specific exercises for specific things, please put them in the comments below so I can address them. If you want more, I have my link to my app that is a full mobility program that you can follow along. I also have a workout of the day and a home program that requires new equipment. So if you're looking for more, check that out. Good, slowly come on up. Then we're gonna bring our legs together and that's gonna wrap up today's mobility. Again, these stretches were focused on opening the hips. If you sit a lot, you're in this flex position, so we want to think of extending or getting to that neutral position where it's open. So again, any comments, put them in the description or put them in the comment section below. I'll put a link. You guys can check out the website, or if you want to check out the app. Any questions, please let me know. I'll be doing more of these this week. I missed yesterday, but I appreciate you guys tuning in for this week's mobility session. Have a great night.